And good afternoon, everyone. My name's Trevor. I live in Thanet in Kent. Lots of sunshine. That's Kent, England, in the UK. Wherever you are, whatever the time is, whatever your weather, wishing you a lovely day. Hope you're happy, healthy, and staying safe. This is my first attempt at streaming on YouTube. Chess, obviously, is a wonderful game, but I'm not so wonderful at getting to grips with technology. So this will be my first attempt. We'll see how it goes. So because it's my first attempt, I'm going to play the computer at a fairly low level, just because it's all about um, my expertise with the software rather than playing chess. But here we go anyway. Let's hope it's a fun game. I'll start with e4, as the great Bobby Fischer said. E4 best by test. And my opponent plays e5. I'm going to go for the King's Gambit because regardless of whether it's sound, I think it is sound. I think it actually, I'll play this over the board. Believe it or not, it may be rubbish, but so am I. So hey, I think the King's Gambit is sound. I believe it's probably with best play. If God was playing God, I suspect it would Black might win or it would be a draw. But in this position, God isn't playing God. In fact, I'm playing Stockfish level 3. Anyway, let's get on. Otherwise, I should lose on time if I don't start moving. So the main thing in the King's Gambit is just quick development. So I want to castle as quickly as I can. Actually, I'm sort of tempted to play d4 here because the knight I don't think is on a good square on d7. So I'm going to hit d4. Now this move attacks my pawn on e4, but I want to play my knight to c3 in any case. So there we go. And in general, in the King's Gambit, if black plays quite passively, as Stockfish is doing here, if white can regain the f4 pawn pretty early on, it's generally doing just fine. And I believe that in this position I am doing just fine. I'm not saying I'm doing better than that, but I've now got four minor pieces developed, and my opponent only has two knights. And to be honest, the knight on d7 is certainly not on an optimum square. The question here is, do I want to open the e file? I guess the King's Gambit is all about attacking, or do I want to? No, I don't think I will open the e file because I shall push the pawn, making the knight move again, and at some stage, not straight away, but I'll be looking at pushing my pawn to e6 and opening up the game that way. Okay, I can't capture the knight on f6 because my pawn is pinned, my king is behind it, and it would be check if I moved it. But I want to castle anyway, so I'm now threatening to take the knight. And the knight retreats, and you can see in this position I do stand quite a lot better. I have four minor pieces, that's both knights and both bishops are developed. My opponent has one minor piece, one knight developed. That isn't on a good square because it's blocking in the bishop. My king is castled, and I also have more space because of my pawn structure. What I want to do now is to get my piece, which is doing the least amount of work, which is the rook on a1, into the game. So let's move the queen, and this will automatically connect my rooks, which means the rooks are protecting each other. Okay, well, this queen move just looks a bit strange. Black just cannot afford moves like this in such a sharp opening. He's threatening my pawn on b2, but I don't care. He can take the pawn on b2 if he wants. Okay, now black has taken the pawn, so black's actually a pawn up, but his position is, it just has to be pretty useless. I'm just trying to think of a way of smashing open their position. I could play rook to b1 here, but I don't really think that I need to do that because my rooks are on really good squares. So let's just play my original plan, which was to play e6. Of course, I'm playing a computer. One thing about playing a computer is a computer will never run short of time. So I have to keep an eye on the clock. But I can just win a piece here. And I've opened up the E file. Okay, my opponent didn't even recapture the piece, so I'm not going to try and be. Perhaps I should try and be a bit cocky here. No, I'm not going to be because it's my first game. I don't want everything to go pear-shaped, so I'll just take another piece. The fireworks can come a bit later. Okay, well, because I'm up in material, any exchanges are going to be good for me. But to start with, I'm going to put this knight on to e5, which is a really good square. Okay, but he moved his rook. Otherwise, I could have played knight to d7, which, okay, I'm not sure that was even the best move. What I want to do, I want to open up the F file now. And in fact, I think I can do that by playing, well, just by moving my bishop. I was going to move it to g5, but that would allow f6. But even with f6, I'm not that concerned. But I think I'll just drop the bishop back. And now I'm attacking the f7 square with the knight and with the rook. Okay, and well, I probably should have gone to g5 last move because the bishop could have just taken the knight straight away. So I can take this one. And my next move, I'm probably going to take on h7. Take on h7, attacking the rook. Okay, well, my opponent hasn't taken the rook. So I'm going to take this rook, and it's been, it's not the highest level of chess that we've seen, but it's been quite interesting from the point of view of playing and getting this game streamed. I would say from this position I could beat Magnus Carlsen, the world champion and possibly the greatest player of all time. But let's see what happens. We don't want things to go too... Oh, that's excuse me, that must be Magnus on the phone, just checking. Magnus, I can't answer the phone, I'm playing a game of chess. So it's a pity about that. If that was Magnus, he was probably going to sue me, but who knows? And I'm leaving my knight on free here because I want to take on f7, which would be a forced checkmate. And I've got a feeling I'm going to get checkmate anyway. I'm feeling these sort of positions suit my cavalier and probably unsound style. But believe it or not, I do play this load of rubbish against players over the board as well, and it's surprising how often they fall for tactics like this. So the black king is in an absolutely terrible position. If I had a bit more time, I would probably, I think almost certainly be able to calculate a sort of crushing mate from this position. But I think rook e5 looks very strong because I've got rook g5, which is mate next move, and that was one way of stopping it, but just loses the queen. So I'm pretty confident that this game will be over quite soon. And in fact, I think I'm going to put my queen back to the square to h4, just with the threat of coming to g5 next, and going to h4 prevents the king from running away to h7. Okay, well that stops one attack. It stops me from attacking on the g5 square, but of course I can just capture that pawn. And black didn't really do itself any favours. I got mate next move, and here we go. So, yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Stockfish, well played. And Magnus, if you'd phoned earlier, my son, I would have been playing you. The result may or may not have been different. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to be playing humans in the future. Being one myself, it seems only fair, and no doubt the strength of opposition will be a little bit higher than I faced today. But thank you very much, and speak soon.